is a nightmare. Man, that's the way it seems. Life is a nightmare.
Welcome to Today in Horrible History, your daily moment of historical misfortune. For March 14th, 2022, we head back to March 14th, 1757. On that date, Admiral John Byng became the last British admiral to be court-martialed and executed for a failure to perform his duties. At the time, the imperial rivalry between Britain and France had broken out into a shooting war on multiple continents, now known as the 7 Years' War. They didn't know at the time to start calling it that, often referred to as the first truly global conflict. The setting for the tighter conflict we're going to discuss here was the Western Mediterranean, as Britain and France saw the island Minorca, one of the Catalan-speaking Balearic Islands, currently part of Spain, and second only to Gibraltar in importance in controlling the Mediterranean Sea and in controlling access to the Atlantic Ocean therefrom. Long story short, Britain had held Minorca for 50 years, and when the French attacked, Byng, who had decades of naval experience, having joined the British Navy at the age of 13, felt he had poor ships, insufficient equipment, and too few men to fight back. He landed on a nearby island to regroup, and in this time the French got the upper hand. News of the loss reached London before it even reached Byng, and certainly before Byng could get in his reports and his plans of action to London. What became fatal for Byng is that a great deal of bad news was reaching King George II all at the same time. News of the French winning in the Mediterranean, news of the French winning a battle against the British in North America, and news of food riots in rural England and Wales. London needed a scapegoat, and Byng was it. After a sensational military court proceeding in which Byng was found innocent of most charges against him, generally related to cowardice, he was unfortunately found guilty of the relatively benign-sounding charge of, quote, failure to do his utmost. Well, what's the worst that could happen in that case? That carried a death sentence. On March 14th, 1757, out on the quarterdeck of a ship where men from multiple ships could witness it, Byng was shot to death by a firing squad of his own men while kneeling on a pillow after dropping his handkerchief as a signal that he'd made his peace with God and was ready for some bullets. I'm not sure why firing bullets downward into a wooden ship is ever a good idea, but hey, I'm not an 18th century military officer. What would I know? Almost immediately upon killing Byng, British society decided this all seemed a bit harsh and unfair. Byng was laid to rest at the family vault in Bedfordshire with the following epitaph: "To the perpetual disgrace of public justice, the Honorable John Byng, Esquire, Admiral of the Blue, fell a martyr to political persecution March 14th in the year 1757, when bravery and loyalty were insufficient securities for the life and honor of a naval officer." End quote. Damn, that's cold. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Today in Horrible History. Remember that after a brief visit, the rest of your day can only seem better in comparison.
Life is a nightmare. Man, that's the way it seems. Life is a nightmare.